all know the Mongols, the mighty empire founded by Genghis Khan in the 13th century that possessed an unstoppable force no other army could resist. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There were some countries that managed to fight back against the Mongols. Famous ones include the Mamluk Sultanate in 1260 and Japan in 1274 and 1281, but an overlooked country is Vietnam, with the subject of today's video being on the man who stopped the Mongols' conquest of Vietnam. Tran Hung Dao. Also, Happy Lunar New Year. Tran Hung Dao came from the Zhang dynasty of Vietnam, founded by Emperor Zhang Tong in 1226. The Zhang dynasty succeeded the Li dynasty and acted like a typical dynasty. The emperor and his family were at the top, followed by the aristocracy, then normal folks, followed by slaves at the bottom. Its capital was Tai Long, modern-day Hanoi. Zhang Hungdao, named Hungdao Daiveng at birth, was born in 1228 and was the son of Prince Jai Liu and Princess Nuet. His uncle was the Zhang Emperor Zhang Taitong, and he was imperial prince because of his royal blood. As a boy, the people around him believed he was destined for greatness, and he was also known for his loyalty and bravery. Zhang Liu rebelled against Zhang Taitong. Zhang Taitong won, sparing his brother. Zhang Liu was mad about that and told his son Zhang Hungdao to seize the realm. He always kept those words in mind and would use them to test his two retainers, Yit Kiu and Dai Tung, and his sons, eldest boy Hung Vu Quoc Hing and other one Young Quoc Tang. The first Mongol invasion. Meanwhile in China, the Mongols under Kublai Khan were fighting against the Chinese Song dynasty. Kublai wanted to use Dai as a double front, but Emperor Zhang Taitong said no, even arresting the envoys, which if you know the Mongols, do not like it at all when you arrest or kill their envoys. With that, General Yankadai invaded Daivi in 1258. It is unknown when Zhang Hongdao became a military general, but he was appointed as supreme commander of the Daivi forces during the invasion. The Daivi emperor met the invading Mongols at Binglangwen. However, they were routed after the Mongols shot arrows at the Daivi elephants' legs, scaring them into charging into their own forces. Jiang Taitong retreated his forces to Fulu Bridge and burned the bridge, stationing his troops on the other side of the river. The Mongols now couldn't cross, and so moved along the river, finding shallow areas using their arrows. They sent their cavalry to cross the shallow areas, who charged and routed the Daivi. The emperor and the royalty fled the capital, and the Mongol force of 25,000 to 30,000 entered the capital of Tanglong, destroying most of the city. They didn't stay long though, as conditions were horrible, and the emperor came back and defeated the Mongols. The Mongols were forced to retreat back to the province of Yunnan after only a 9 days stay in the capital. Jan Taitong agreed to pay tribute to the Mongols every 3 years. Second Mongol invasion. Kublai Khan completed the conquest of the Song dynasty, founding the Yuan dynasty, and tried to establish trade on the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean. He first tried to make friends with Champa, but soon relations between them intensified, leading to the Mongol invasion of Champa in 1282 under General Sodu. Sodu landed in Vijaya and defeated the Champa king. The citizens of Vijaya asked the surrounding countries, including Daivit, for help. Sodu drew back to the coast and then pushed into the north of Champa. Meanwhile, Daivit was preparing for war, with Zhang Hongdao supreme commander. In 1285, Yuan Prince Togon, Kublai's son, began the second Mongol invasion of Daivit. Omar was there too. He might be important. Omar would control the fleet, while Togon would advance down inland, and together they both pushed into Tanglong. The Daivite forces were beaten, and the Emperor Jiang Yangtong withdrew from Tanglong to Tianjung, which was the Jiang reserve seat of power, while Togon entered Tanglong. Soda advanced to Daivite from the north to capture the remnants of the Daivite army, while another Yuan army under Nasal al-Din came and linked up with Togon's forces after defeating another Daivite force at Red River. Togon and Omar would beat counterattacks from the Daivite. Togon and Sodu would eventually link up, but the two kings during this time, Jiang Yangtong and Jiang Tantong and Jiang Hongdao, would harass them constantly. The kings led Omar and Sodu into a goose chase, while Jiang Hongdao harassed Togon's supply lines. The Daivite forces under Jiang Hongdao would engage and defeat Togon at several engagements that saw Togon fall back towards the north of the Red River, while the Jiang kings dealt with Omar and Sodu. Togon and Nasar al-Din managed to fight their way back to China. During their retreat, Sogu was killed at the Battle of Taket, though Omar managed to escape. The Yuan were defeated in just 6 months. Third Mongol invasion. In 1286, Kublai Khan planned another conquest of Daivite. Chiang Hongdao was made supreme commander once again. This time Kublai focused on the naval campaign, In November 1287, the Yuan dynasty invaded Dai with 18,000 men on 500 ships under Omar, aided by 70 supply ships, entered Halong Bay. A land force under Togon advanced towards Tanlong. As Omar advanced on Tanlong, the supply ships under Zhang Wenhu were left behind. When they reached Vandong, they were attacked by a Daivite force and sunk. Zhang barely escaped. The Daivite emperors escaped to Tianjung as Togon and Omar entered Tanglong. Kublai sent another fleet of supply ships under Zhang Daivite, but sank again. Zhang barely escaped again. With no supplies, resistance from the Daivite, and the hot weather, the Yuan decided to withdraw. Zhang Hung Dao predicted a withdrawal and so planted holes to trap Yuan horses, planted ambushes, and destroyed bridges and roads that the Yuans were going to use for their withdrawal. Zhang Hung Dao planted wooden stakes at Bakdak River. Omar fled using the Bakdak River. The tide was rising, so Zhang Hung Dao sent ships to attack the enemy. Suddenly the ships turned and fled. Omar's entire fleet pursued the ships. As the tide began to fall, Zhang Hongdao ordered his ships to turn and charge at the enemy with all their might, and the stakes pierced the enemy ships. It was all over for the Yuan. Omar was captured and 400 Yuan ships were taken. Togon successfully made it back, but Kublai did not want to see him, for obvious reasons. Kublai wanted to plan another invasion in 1294, and Emperor Jiang Yangtong sent embassies to tell him to politely stop. Davy agreed to send Omar back by ship, but Omar's ship sank and poor Omar went down the ship, which may have been Zhang Hangdao's doing. Daibi agreed to pay tribute to the Yuan after that. Kublai died in 1294, and his successor Timur Khan decided not to invade Daibi. Thus, Daibi was safe from the Mongols. After the invasion, Zhang Hangdao would retire to Van Keep, and he would write a book where he combined the strategies of past military masters, though the book has sadly lost to time. Zhang Hangdao would die on August 20, 1300 in his home located in Van Keep. Emperor Jiang Angtong would have a shrine built for him at Qingcheng and gave him the titles Grand Mentor and Supreme Father of the State, Supreme National Duke, Grand Marshal who pacified the North, Dragon Duke, exemplary in virtue, illustrious in deeds, abundant in merit, humane and martial, Hung Dao Dai Vung. Statues of him are everywhere in Vietnam. He is a revered hero to the Vietnamese people, and rightfully so. Jiang Hung Dao is one of Vietnam's greatest heroes, whose military genius allowed Vietnam to resist and push back the unstoppable force that is the Mongols.